Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video, and we just kind of subtly and quite quietly had the release of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles in HD for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. Now the original actually got released back in 2004 and I still got my original copy. This is exclusive for the GameCube. This is the box edition, so it came with the actual link cable to your Game Boy Advance. A very ambitious title for the time. Now it was very different and quite weird here in the UK because Final Fantasy was exclusive for the original PlayStation and PlayStation 2. And this was actually giving me a reason to finally purchase my GameCube myself because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. But there was a bit of a catch with it because the thing I really wanted to play was the multiplayer mode, and being a big fan, it kind of resembled more like the Secret of Mana. So I was like, oh okay, Secret of Mana with the Final Fantasy title, I was picking that up. But you needed 4 actual Game Boy SPs or Game Boy Advance with linked cables to actually get that going. So I've never really actually put that time that I wanted to do, but now with this HD edition, given the online compatibility, I was finally actually download this guys and show you a review. This is some captured footage from the original GameCube release back in 2004, and as you can see, the remaster has now been given a tasty facelift. Some great up-to-date visuals, but lacking in some areas, which I'll explain later on in the video. The game is priced at £25, which I think is very reasonable. It holds everything from the original, but whilst adding more features, but also removing a key feature which I think was its main strength back in its original release. So let's start with some good points about the game. The visuals are great. It's always nice to see an older game get the treatment it's needed to appeal to the original fans, returning to hit those nostalgia strings, and also bringing some new fans with this remaster. But I would like to say a lot of this game visually comes across more the HD port than that of a remaster. It now adds full widescreen support and 1080p resolution on the standard PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. I am unable to test if there are any PS4 Pro features, if it's actually needed anyway, but it's always nice to have that Pro features for the Pro players. The FPS in this game is very smooth, just like the original. If you played the original game, you will notice improvements on the texture quality, and the water graphics are completely redone, but not all of the game is. Take a look at this bridge and the interior of this room. It looks untouched from the GameCube version. Some further welcoming new additions to this release are the character class creation. Now it gives you 5 more subclasses to choose from when creating your character. The game comes with a higher quality audio, which is very noticeable with the sound and music, and are also bundled with voice acting, which is very different to the original release. It took me a while to adjust, but I find it adds a lot more character to the game. But when it comes to the Mogs,
you've been eavesdropping!
No, this shouldn't really happen. They should never speak. It's just a bit too weird for me.
Hey, whose side are you? Vengeance? Murder? Not us.
Another annoying factor with this game is the amount of loading screens. You seem to get through a lot of loading screens for every event, so do expect many of these. I did kind of get used to it after a while, but come on now, it is 2020 and there are too many loading screens in this game. Another thing to point out with this release is the controller mapping. It's direct from the GameCube controller from the original release. So there's no actual additional functionality with the PlayStation 4 controller and the Switch pad, which is a bit of a shame and a missed opportunity. The game is expanded on from the original release, including additional extra dungeons, and I had a replay mode. This really helps the player to steer, to upgrade and get the best gear, adding that extra replay value. If you happen to never play the original Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube, you may find this very different to that of the other Final Fantasy released games. The Final Fantasy in this title does seem more of a gimmick to help push the sales of this release. But it may be just me, but I find that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles does remind me a lot more of the much beloved Final Fantasy IX, just with its design and characters, and maybe the only Final Fantasy game that has done so since. And the music in this release is one of my favourite in the series, mixing up a Celtic folk style, and it's awesome to hear this now in a higher remaster quality. I always thought with the original release that you had to have multiplayer mode to actually get through this game, but still with this release you are very more welcome to playing it through single player mode. But I do recommend towards the end of the game, or even after your first playthrough, to focus on online because it does get quite hard. With the original release of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the Nintendo GameCube, the couch co-op was its main charm about the game, but here for the remaster version, the couch co-op has been completely removed, which is a huge shame. But even back then with the original release, it was very hard to do so because of all the equipment that you needed and the actual budget that you needed to do so. As you are using the Square Enix servers and crossplay is available, to add friends and just tag along with them is quite weird and annoying, as each player has their own unique code and you just have to add them to each game session. But once you've done that, it's very easy and simple just to tag along with some friends and play this online. My first experience with playing this game online wasn't the best, I must say, because when I just opened and started the dungeon, it then took me almost about 30 seconds just wandering on my own, waiting for people to join the session. But then sometimes it would even take seconds, and then bam, you've got a full team and you're ready to go. And also sometimes I would come across that the session wasn't actually available. But now later on this week of playing this game, it does seem a lot more stable, and the online gameplay is just an even better experience now. If you're a fan of the original, it's still much worthy of downloading. No physical edition has yet been scheduled outside of Japan. And yet with its impressive visuals, but yet keeping its look of the original, it is pretty awesome, and the audio is very impressive. It's a shame they have that slightly awkward online mode that is restricted to your area zone only, and with many loading screens, but yet I found I kind of got used to them after a while. But still, it would not go amiss if they actually got some updates for this game. Well, as always guys, if you like this video, hit that button. If you want to help and support this channel, click subscribe, leave me your thoughts below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.